Welcome to Growth Cultivated, a Blue Bonsai Group podcast where we explore smarter, more sustainable growth for health, wellness, and aesthetics businesses. I'm your host, Michelle Cassini. Today, we've got a special guest with us, Dr. Joseph Jones. His academic pedigree spans a bachelor's of science in electrical engineering, an MBA, and a doctorate of chiropractic. But it's really how he applies those credentials in tandem that really sets him apart. And so in this episode, we're going to pull back the curtain on what it actually looks like to run a clinical practice while developing tech companies in the background, and how the trust earned in patient relationships really become the foundation for something much larger. So welcome to the show, Dr. Jones. How you doing today?
Doing pretty well. I appreciate you having me on here.
Absolutely. It's so nice to have you. You are juggling a lot of balls, it sounds like, and are a very, very busy man. So why don't you kick us off and just tell us a little bit about the practices and companies and where you've got your hands in right now?
Yeah, so I definitely, like I said, I do have a diverse background. A lot of people don't really recognize it. And it's funny, kind of before I ever go into it, I like to tell people, man, it used to feel like it was a negative to have so many different backgrounds, but as I looked at it as a bad thing, and so many people were like, hey, I don't know where to put you at. But as I got older, especially within entrepreneurship and business, you used to learn to figure out that's really a gift to be able to fit in different rooms. So from my background in engineering, I have an electrical engineering degree from University of Alabama, Roll Tide. So I have a minor in math and physics as well. So it's a lot of things that kind of played a part when it came to that side of it. I worked in the engineering field for years, in management, engineering, all type of different sectors within there. Got my MBA in the process. I learned a little bit earlier that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I just didn't know how to really navigate it. So later on in life, I was trying different things out, and chiropractic came about. And in the midst of doing that one, I joined the military. I went in the military, and that kind of gave me like a discipline type system of a. Now I was always pretty good at understanding systems, but that gave me a different light of kind of understanding that portion of it. And from when it came to chiropractic clinic of it, clearly was able to open things up. I opened it up while I was in school. A lot of people don't recognize or understand that. I opened my clinic up halfway through school. And because I was able to do so much early on, and like I said before, I thought it was a bad thing, but that allowed me really to see forth years ahead of time that most people didn't understand, and really be able to logically put something together and keep it sustaining even to today, where I'm able to have 3 different locations right now and have my other companies run at the same time.
And so the companies that you have, can you tell us a little bit about those specific companies? Because it's a chiropractic office. You said you have 3 locations,
Correct.
and
So
those are all in Texas, or
all in Texas, yeah. And so I have my main location. I have a location inside the university here, University of North Texas. We've been there for about one of few chiropractors that has a location inside of a major university. I have another place downtown that we're kind of inside of a gym right now. Roy Jones Jr. has a gym, so we've been inside of his gym, actually building that up as well from a recovery standpoint. When it comes to sustaining and building different things, it's about integrating different things. As time changes, you have to be able to adapt. Adaptability is a big thing when it comes to entrepreneurship. We also have a med spa that's also inside of here. So we house a lot of things when it comes to it. And that came from understanding a simple thing of pain management. We deal with pain, we deal with different episodes. How do I really encompass everything in house? So it's always been a way for me to say, hey, I want to have a one stop shop. The one stop shop allows me to see the vision in ways that most people don't really recognize it by being able to add something on and being able to integrate it in a way that makes sense.
you before we got on our call, or I think it was our first conversation, you had said that the healthcare practice is really the door opener and the trust layer that you build. How intentional was that strategy from the beginning, and how has it actually played out in terms of the other companies that you have as well?
So it was the intention behind opening up. I asked God for 3 things. It's funny because I asked God for 3 things when I opened up. I said I had to hit this, and this. And he gave it to me super fast. And I was like, okay, I hear you. Let me go ahead. I'm going to do it right now. That's how I kind of operate. I'll ask for certain things, and as he gives it, I go after. So the intention became about my ask is giving and then incorporating, okay, another ask and just keep in that way. So when the intention side of it, I love talking to people. I love communicating. The one thing about chiropractic, I always tell people is that we have to deal with your conscious. You're not asleep when we're having to deal with you. So building that trust factor, if you're going to allow me to adjust you or touch on you in different ways to really help your issue, that's a trust factor. Building that trust allows me to open the door to other things I have. And it's not saying that at the beginning I'm to point everything out, but people get to know you. And if they can understand understand me and trust me from that side of it, they'll trust me from other things that I may have going as well.
Okay, so you said that you initially felt like running multiple companies was a negative thing, probably because you were spread too thin. I'm just curious. You said that you really changed and understood that was a gift and a blessing. But what changed and what changed over that time? And I'm wondering how, if at all, that tension still comes up in terms of any overwhelming feelings, or how you're really juggling it all.
Yeah, so with me, for I think individuals that have a lot of drive, the problem that we run into a lot of times is trying to find individuals that have our type of drive, and that's a hard thing to really find. And at the beginning stages, I'm not gonna lie, you kind of work off of desperation. Hey, this got to happen. This. So when you're bringing people in, you're hoping they can kind of embody your same type of mindset, but it's not going to be that. So I had to understand the gift of who they are, what they can do, and maximize their potential and not try to bring my potential into it. So that way we all can win, we can understand it. And then you have to understand too, like everything's a company in my mind. So if I'm working with somebody else, they may be my HR. I'm working with somebody, they may be my marketing. I'm doing this. So I'm not looking at who's inside, but who I can partner with in different ways. Where now I built a more of an enterprise rather than just thinking inside of these four walls of you have to be here to do this one. So I thought a little bit outside the box, and I've always been that way. But when it came to this side of the really, when you're trying to maximize it, you have to really understand who do you have, who's around you, and what can you really kind of pillar off of.
So, how many employees do you have right now?
So between full and part time, we have 12.
12. Okay. And so you talked about having a lot of partnerships and being able to really kind of see those as opportunities. How did you start thinking more creatively to really form some of these partnerships and take some things off your plate so that you could have more breadth and room to grow, not just with these companies, these offices, but the tech companies as well?
Yeah. So most people, and I talk about three things. Most people look at the problem. Most people get start a business and they have a solution to somebody's problem. So my thing was like, okay, the convenience. I have to look at it. Am I offering the convenience to different individuals? Well, right here, the university was at the time, my other location was 12 minutes down the road. So I went to the university. I started doing speaking engagements. I started kind of understanding on campus what was needed. I did that for about a year and a half while I was in school. Like I was doing this in between classes, running up and down the highway, kind of doing my own research. So by the time I was done and with school and everything else, I had already understood that makeup. I didn't just go to them out the blue. I knew what they needed. I was able to put together a plan that makes sense for what they needed. And then I looked at it. It's a native university. If I can get in the door, that's a big marketing, is a big tool. They put me on the website. They put me in the gym. They put a flyer around here. I have access to thousands and thousands of students, and it gives me the publicity. So that became okay. Now I have a marketing team. I have, you know what? I have an HR team. I have different people now partnering with that they can help me out with different things. And I've done that with everybody that I partner with. But I tell everybody else, you have to have something that you bring to the table. If you're just going hoping that they're going to help you out, it's not going to happen. That's not how anything works. If I don't have anything to bring to them, they look at me as some in desperation. You can't work out of desperation.
And it sounds like you did your homework. So you knew that there was something there. Did you materially at that point know kind of what your strategy was, or was it just kind of a feeling and that inner voice saying, "Okay, you need to go in this direction with the university," and you kind of just doubled down in that area?
Yeah, so it was a lot of failures in the beginning because I was doing all type of, like, I'm a veteran too. So when you're going in, I'm talking to veterans. I was talking to different unions. I was talking to different fraternity sororities, everything. Because I've done so much, I'm in on so many different categories. I was just going, failing, going, failing. Oh, success. Okay, that's my lane, and I had to fail my way into seeing where it was at. But it took some time, and I'll be the first person to tell you. I had plenty of times where I fell on my face. It didn't work out. Door closed, but I kept going and I didn't look at it. I was like, okay, this is enough. Let me keep going. And I found a niche. I found what they needed. And I presented that when I was ready and I had all my documents and everything together to say, hey, this is your need. This is how I can provide that need. So I touched on the three things I'm talking about. I solved their problem. I offered the convenience. And then the biggest one I always tell people about, I offered an experience that nobody else could offer. So that experience is what, hey, I want that person to come here because they can offer these three things to me.
And they already knew you, right? I mean, you had already built a relationship with them. So, it's again, the relationship, not whether it's patients or whether it's partners, really is the foundation of any type of partnership. So I think it probably was a very easy decision for them at that point, knowing what they knew about you and having worked with you for, a year and a half, as you said. So
Yeah. Now I'll go back with that. Not necessarily they didn't know me. This so being a major university, the different organizations that I do, they knew me. The
got it.
school, yeah, within the health center, they didn't know me. I had to present that to them. But because of what I've done and touched different areas that they may have had a part in, now they say, okay, he's already been out here. He's been talking to them. I knew what they needed. So yeah.
That's definitely different. I appreciate the clarification because yeah, you went in and you did recon, on all these
Yeah,
different,
yeah. Yeah.
categories and departments and groups and did your homework. So obviously it really suited you well. So congrats on that. Switching gears a little bit, I'm interested to know how you grew the three practices and what you really attribute the success and the expansion to three locations. What's your mix of really acquisition in terms of really securing patients?
Yeah, so we do personal injury. We do a good amount of personal injury. We do wealth. We have students. Even when it comes to for my thing has always been whatever area I'm in, figure out what people are asking for. I've always been a person that sees like, okay, well, women buy a lot of products. Women bring men in to do this and that. So I kind of cater to, in a sense, what women needs works. They would direct. I know me as a man. It's hard for me to get somewhere to a hospital this now and go work out rather than go to the doctor. So I understood, okay, who's bringing people in, who's bringing the kids in and providing that service and that experience that, hey, that guy knows what he's doing. He's doing something different than everything else. And what people don't even understand with me, even as had my practice open, I did coverage work for different offices. I was still working in different offices to understand their process, understand what they're doing. And that wasn't even anything I was looking for money wise. It was me to kind of understand, okay, how are they operating? How are they building? And I had to understand that flow and bring it to my flow. So that way, you know what, I'm doing something wrong here. Let me see how they're doing. I can really encourage that. So I was doing my own internships while I'm running my own practice. And most people won't do it. They look at, I gotta have money here, I gotta be doing this. But if you don't understand your competition, you don't understand the people around you. A lot of people can help you out in different ways, but you gotta be willing to take the extra time. That may cost you some sleep, it may cost sacrifice some things here, but it makes sense a long way to allow you to grow in ways you couldn't even imagine.
So then you would attribute it to really kind of the commitment and the investment of time and your own patience probably, to really see the opportunities when they presented themselves.
Correct, because I knew what people were not getting at other locations, so I can't offer an experience if I think I'm doing everything right. I had to see what everybody else was doing. I had to really study people. I had to study offices and, okay, they're only doing this, this, this. So if I do a little bit more, guess what? It's gonna buy time. They may not come in tomorrow, but when they do come in, hey, I'm gonna come in. Or if they came in and maybe they went someplace else, I was okay with that too. Because I knew they would come back because I knew what I offered was something that wasn't being offered someplace else.
And do you have a lot of members in terms of memberships, for that recurring revenue? Or can you talk a little bit about the business model in a sense of how many patients you serve, that staff of yours, in terms of how much percent of those are like people who keep coming back? I'd love to kind of know the breakdown there.
So we do about 40% PI, personal injury. So that's a big, so we're dealing, so that builds partnerships with attorneys, insurance companies, people around car accidents. Everybody's in Texas, everybody's having a wreck. So that's a big portion of it. So the referral base from that one is, but it takes a minute. It takes about a year, 2 years. So people can see, okay, when the settlement happens, how you dealt with the attorney, because it doesn't pay out quick a lot of times. So people gotta understand that it builds that up. The subscription model has always been the thing with me because people are paying just, they're used to that, a wellness package where they can come in 2, 4 times a month, 6, 8 times a year, whatever they want to do. We have certain packages that people kind of fall into. That's about 20, 25% of kind of how we really navigate that portion. We do have the majority where they come in here for they really have treatment plans where they're dealing with an issue, a particular issue that's going to take a certain amount of time to really kind of dig through. The way we do a lot of things now, because we do have a med spa, we do have a pain management side, we're able to encompass all that now, where now we can kind of treat everybody from even from an acute standpoint to now long term when it comes to chronic with how we're dealing with it. And we have training too. So if they're not coming in for necessary chiropractic, they may come in for stretching. They don't have stretching, you know what? They may come in for this. Well, you know what? They don't want to come in. They just want to get a lash lift or they want to get some sculpting done. That's here too. My whole goal is to bring them inside, even if it's a notary. We do notary here too. So We deal with it. And I've always been that type. You never know what somebody may need. You just want to get them in the door and get them to understand who you are, because then they know somebody who may need your service.
Well, and when they're on the table and you're talking and they're going through whatever therapy, you really are finding out what's going on in their life, and that opens up other, avenues of conversation that they need this or they need that. And, oh, well, wait a minute, that's something that we actually offer, and that's something that I could help you with as well. Or if you don't, I know who to refer you to, because you're a trusted source for them, through that relationship that you've built with them.
Absolutely.
So, in terms of your background, though, it is impressive, just the transition and the multifaceted experience and education that you have. And so I'd love to learn more about the technology side of things. Your MBA and the doctor of chiropractic makes sense for the business side of things and the three practices, but the engineering side, that technical expertise, how are you, and if you are, I'm not sure, but maybe you can talk to it, like, how are you bringing that into the health space and into the health industry? If you could talk a little bit about some of those technical companies that you have at this point.
Yeah, so one that we have that we're still kind of pushed out, we call it, I'm refurbishing that right now, but it's Bismingle. Bismingle is, I call it the professional dating app. So when it comes to marketing, everything else, nothing's really intentional. I got tired of SEO and hiring marketing teams say it takes 6 months, it takes a year, this and that. So for me, it was like, you know what, I'm going to networking meetings, I'm doing different things. But what this did, it allowed me to create an app that allows, hey, you like me in a sense and I like you, hey, let's put it together. But the key part about it is AI within it, where it really allows you to kind of navigate the conversation, where it's not you having to think it's set scheduling meetings for you. It's putting your plan together and their plan. So that way it's less thinking. It's already task oriented for you. It's how you guys can work together. It details out multiple different pathways. So that way it takes the thought process. What are you doing? It doesn't get tired. It keeps coming up with different ways as you keep adding, and it learns you more. So that's kind of one way. We have some veteran apps out there that really helps out. I have one big one that we're still trying to get funded for right now to get pushed out there, but it's always been about what's the next big thing. And from a tech side of things, I've never stopped doing tech. I've never stopped doing engineering. I've always doing side projects. And like I said, I'm always interning no matter what I have going on. I'm always going to be, hey, you need help with this. Hey, can I jump in and do this? Because it keeps my brain going and understanding different things. I do, and people don't realize I do more consulting than anything else. I'm consulting different businesses. Chiropractic is what people see. Consulting is what I do the majority of the time. I'm constantly helping other people out. And that's my biggest thing, is figuring out how to help and showing people how you can really manage tech within the different companies and understand it from a health perspective too. And combining both of those, you're touching on a massive world of things that people are needed for right now.
And it's all the reciprocity as well too. You're helping those individuals, they're gonna turn around and help you when you need it as well.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
paid forward, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So then how are you utilizing technology right now in the chiropractic offices? Knowing that there's a lot of changes with artificial intelligence. If you could just talk a little bit to that and how you've been able to elevated chiropractic.
Yeah.
Yes, no pun intended there. I'd love to learn more.
Yeah, so with AI, so I've created especially when AI really got kind of heavy on the chat GPTs and everything out there. From marketing, from putting people out there to kind of be able to really engulf, okay, a different experience. Like I'm all about experience, how people do it. So creating different goals, different projects, different intake forms that are already put together from a side of things. I can input my knowledge of what it has. I might have missed something. So when it comes to AI, everything's being double checked, triple checked, is actually producing things for us. So I've created different things within some of the AI tools where it predicts it. So I'll stick something in there. Hey, you need to update this. Hey, this is what we just had when it comes to financial thing. You missed this much money this month. This is where you messed up at. This is where we can kind of change it. It's always constantly updating. So I encourage everybody within there. Hey, if you saw a mistake or you have a question, stick it inside of our tools and make sure that you're double checking, triple checking, and come with it. You don't have to overthink anything anymore. You have somebody who can help you out. Now, I don't want them thinking just for them 24/7, but I do want them to use it as a partner, as a friend that can literally, hey, nudge you into the right area when you're having a block in a sense.
And so are these standalone solutions that you've created or that you've worked with developers on, or are these options that you have kind of unlocked within some of the tech stack that you already have within the
So a little bit of all of it, and that's what me interning and helping different people out. I've been able to kind of use their tools. Hey, can you try this out in your place? The thing is, with a lot of people, like I said, you always want to bring something to the table. One thing with having an office with a database, people want your data. So that allows me now to, hey, I do have data I can try within your system or your tools, and now we can kind of have a partnership. So it goes back to you both have something mutual that we can both benefit from. You can help out my clinic and I can help you kind of see it from a perspective of that way. So I've always been able to really navigate that because I'm always bringing something, but I had to build it up first. So that way I become a value rather than being a value in certain conversations.
And so with all this growth that you've had and obviously these advancements that you keep bringing to your practice, I'm wondering what's next. Like what's the next chapter for you in terms of juggling all these companies as well as, expansion within the companies that you already have in existence.
So, and this is the one I want to talk about it so bad, but I'm still trying to get it funded. It's a big one. It's a big project because for me, I can see where everything's going from streaming to gaming and this and that. But I also see from a health perspective the activity level going down. So
Mm.
for me, a lot of things I do with the clinic is surveying. I'm doing my own survey. I'm doing my own data, and I'm putting toward a bigger project, which is going to be a huge project, but it's going to allow people to see things a whole lot faster, not just from a side of having to come to a center when something happens. It's be very preventative. It's going to be, we're looking at things way ahead of time before it even catches the attention of whoever is coming in for it. That's my thing. I talk about a lot of time. My nephew, he passed away when he was going between 6 to 7 and 6, 7, 5 to 6. I can't remember his now, man. But he lost all of his senses, but they could have caught it early on if from a sports perspective. He was playing sports, they saw something kind of going. Before then, he was taken to the hospitals, nobody saw anything. It was like, he's okay, he's okay. It took one doctor to say, you know what, something's not right. Within that year, he lost every sense. So it's always, even my brother's company, he got a company based upon that stuff too. So we're kind of combining something to be very, very preventative. That now we're catching things extremely early, but it's in a way that doesn't feel like it's in a hospital type setting.
Interesting. Yeah, that definitely whets the palate for I'm sure a lot of individuals and wanting to know what that next step is. So we'll definitely have to keep our
Yeah,
ears and
yeah.
our eyes open. Is that something that's coming up probably in the next 6 to 12 months? Then
You know what? I'm hoping if I can get the funding, because it's a big ask and it's a big funding. So the right investor, and we're not looking for anybody. So I've never been a time where I'm looking for just anybody to fund it. I'm looking for the right one because it has to be somebody who's really invested into what's going on because it's a big one, but I can't give it out to everybody. So.
so as we wrap up here, I always ask the guests the same question. Are there things that you know now that you wish you would have known at a younger stage in your life that you can share with the listeners to impart that knowledge on them?
Yeah, I tell people, man, to chase whatever it is that you dream of. If you were given that dream and you can see it, I say if you can see it 90% clear, just go after it because everything starts with a dream, but nobody has the action behind the dream. And a lot of people go from I'm going to I wish, and they never went to you know what I'm doing it. I'm doing exactly what I said I was going to do. I saw that, and that's been my thing. That's what always has encouraged me. That's been my success path. I'm not gonna lie. My success path has always been if I can see it, I don't think about it. I just go after it. And if I fail to a successful situation, and it's never failed me. I've always been able to really have success in my life based upon me just keep going. And I think a lot of people just they cut off too soon and they have families. We all have them. I get it, but it's going to take a little bit of selfishness and some sacrifice to really see that success. So that S will give me the other S, but just make sure you're being a little bit selfish with your time. You're sacrificing your time because you may not sleep here. You may not do this. If I told my whole story, people wouldn't. They'll probably try to donate money because of stuff I did back in the day, and I don't need it. But it's like they would see how hard I did stuff, and I don't even care to talk about it because I want people to really understand. Hey, you can be whatever you want to be. You can change careers and do this, but it really takes time to really be a little bit selfish and sacrifice to really be that success that you want to become.
And don't give up because commitment and failure are part of growth and success. Well, great advice. I really appreciate you coming on today, Dr. Jones, and for all the time that you've spent with us. Thank you again for joining us on Growth Cultivated, a Blue Bonsai Group podcast. If you found this conversation helpful, please be sure to subscribe and share with others in the industry. Until next time, keep cultivating smarter growth.
Awesome. Thank you.